Okay, let's go ahead and get the meeting started. Call to order at 6:35. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining tonight. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes from January and February? If so, are there any comments or adjustments that anybody needs to make? Okay, I'm going to do not. Then can I get a motion to approve the minutes from, I mean, two separate motions from January 26th, 2021? And February 23rd, 2021.
I move to accept the January minutes and February.
I have a first by Heather Scott. Can I get a second?
Second.
Trey seconds the motion. All in favor? Hey, you guys.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I'm going to say the motion passes. All in favor? Treasurer's report.
There's no change from last month. Our balance is $43,689.28. The $60 invoice from Kathy Critter's Ranch. She was supposed to get a hold of Teresa today again. And I told her if she didn't get a hold of her today, to keep on trying every day because she wants to pay with a debit card.
Okay,
So
okay,
at least she's responding.
that's good. Yeah, that's good. She's responding. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's report as of 3/25/21?
I move to accept the treasurer's report.
I have a motion from Heather Scott to approve. Can I get a second?
I'll second that motion.
Allison Teeter seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. We have any public comments tonight? Okay, I'm gonna move on. Can we get the FFA update from Rifle, Coleridge, and DeBeck? And I'm not in here.
No, I know Rifle FFA is actually instructing archery right now,
Okay,
so they may be on towards the last part of the meeting.
okay. If they get on, I'll ask for an update from them. Under old business, we sent out RFPs for the buyer's barbecue and the show and sale photographer RFP through the Chamber of Commerce, and we got back one response for each. Jessica Ferrero submitted a proposal for the photographer RFP, and she did it
In 2018.
Okay, yeah, 2 years ago in 2019, and her submittal came to a total of $3,010. I think the response that I've gotten from everybody was that she did a good job. 2 years ago, everybody liked her photos. Her proposal was pretty thorough, I thought. She understands the requirements of what's needed for her, the time commitment, and the product that she's supposed to deliver. I don't know if you guys want to move forward to accept her proposal, or if you prefer, I can scan and email this out to everybody tomorrow. Then do you want us to respond, or do you want to wait till the next meeting?
What do you want to do?
What do you guys want to do? When you let me know?
I haven't seen the proposal, but I know I worked with her quite a bit 2 years ago. I helped a lot with the photo backdrop and helping get kids in and out. And she was awesome. Her mom helped. She knew how to set livestock. She knew how to set kids. I thought she did a great job, very professional. And just she knew what she needed to do as far as the animals go. And I felt the photo quality was much better than we've had in the past.
Okay. Also, Allison, good point. This did include a photo assistant in her bid proposal.
Yeah,
And then also, I know the last time when she did it, we got her an RV space there at the KOA in Silt. And if we could do that again, Trey, then she'll take off the $350 as well, if we can get her a
Okay.
spot for lodging.
I will get over and try to talk to them and see what I can do.
Perfect.
okay. Any other questions or comments from anybody? So what do you guys want to do? Do you want to move forward to make a motion to accept this proposal tonight, or would you all like to see it? And then, yeah, let them, put it out to the end of April to vote on this.
I think we should get her scheduled so she doesn't move and pick up another job during our fair.
Okay. Would you be willing to make a motion, Michael?
I will make a motion to accept the RFP.
Second it.
Heather seconds the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. The next RFP came in from Laurel Lane for the Buyer's Barbecue. And this is the menu she sent in. She did beef tips with mushroom and brown gravy, pulled pork with barbecue sauce, mashed potatoes, strawberry spinach salad with dressing, cornbread and rolls, cherry pie bars, carrot cake bars, chocolate chip cookie cheesecake bars, iced tea, sweet tea, and peach lemonade. And it would include plates, cups, napkins, and silverware, and it was $13 a person was her bid. Any comments?
What was that per person again?
$13.
Only went up 50 cents per person.
Carla's saying she only went up 50 cents per person from 2 years ago.
Is that a similar menu? I feel like there should be another vegetable. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of dessert.
Yeah, we need a vegetable instead of just a green salad.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause I think there has been
Kinda like
mashed
green
potatoes,
beans.
vegetable
Like
beans,
green
or
beans or
corn or something
corn.
like that.
Exactly, there should be another vegetable.
Okay. I guess,
And we can send menu revisions back to her.
okay, so we can send a menu revision back to her and have her come back on it. So I guess we'll push this back out till April. Or if, I don't know, if she does a revision with a vegetable,
Do we need 3 desserts or just 2?
yeah, I mean, can she replace a vegetable with one of the desserts possibly? And I know previously we had talked about, what we did, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago with the 4-H clubs, bringing in desserts and delivering those. If we feel like we need more desserts, do we want to, think about that? I guess my feeling would be I'd rather have a vegetable and cut out one of the desserts. That doesn't really matter to me. and see if she would still do it for $13 a person. Does anybody else have any comments?
That sounds good to me.
Okay. Is anybody willing to make a motion that if she will add a vegetable, cut one of the desserts, and if you want to be specific about the desserts, include that in your motion? That we would approve the RFP for $13 a person? Chrissy just texted me. She said she thinks that that sounds good by cutting out a vegetable and adding a dessert.
Cutting out a dessert.
Or, yeah, sorry.
How many are you figuring for?
Pardon me?
How many are you figuring the bid for?
350, I think.
Because that should be part of the motion, just so
Okay.
you've got a,
A total.
That's what was in the RFP.
So 350 people at $13 per person is $4,550, the total cost for the barbecue. You guys, does anybody want to make a motion? Oh, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to have it revised and sent to her if she can eliminate a dessert, add a vegetable at the same price for 350 people to accept the proposal.
Trey makes a motion that if she will revise her RFP to include a vegetable and take away one dessert for 350 people at $13 a person. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I
Second.
second.
Okay, Michael Gosha seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. So we have the RFP for, or we have the RFP for the photographer that we will accept. We'll reach out to Laurel Lane regarding the RFP for the buyer's barbecue, and if she will make those adjustments, she will be our vendor for the barbecue. Marketing update. I don't really have anything because I didn't work a lot on this. I worked on a couple other things this past month. Does anybody? I think we're still gonna move forward with middle of May and getting our materials together and out to buyers and such like we've done historically. Does anybody have any comments? Okay, auctioneers, I did get a hold of all 4 auctioneers. We will have Ralph Fritzland, Larry McCowan, Jack Preddy, and Dan McCarty all will be our auctioneers for the 2021 sale. They've all committed to help us out again this year. And I'm in the process of reaching out to Larry McCowan, Cindy Chalewski, and who's from Jay Rick's crew to help out throughout the week of fair running the shows. So I know Cindy is on board and is ready to go, but I haven't gotten a hold of Larry and or Jay at this point. My assumption is that they will, but I will give you guys an update when I confirm with them. Award sponsorships. We've been working on contacting people. I believe we have people committed for the hats. And I know that there's been additional people that want to commit to help with the hats. And I had a discussion, and I wanted to bring up an option, since we have somebody, Alpine Bank has been wanting to get on the hats for forever, but the sponsorship for the hats has already been taken by previous sponsors. So we had a thought that maybe Alpine Bank could do t-shirts for the livestock sale and show. And we wanted to know what everybody thought about that. In addition to that, I'm still working on buckles and ribbons, and the Showmanship Awards, I think, are taken care
All the, I know all round robin is done, including the scholarship. A lot of the other,
of. I know Showmanship is
yes,
taken care
showmanships, most all showmanships are taken care of. There's a few more areas. We were supposed to have it all done by tomorrow, but we've been given an extension for another month
of. Okay,
so that we can get all the ads and stuff together.
okay,
So we have another 30 days.
okay. Does anybody have comments or questions?
Did one of your hat sponsors drop this year that historically has been there? Or do you have? the same?
No, same ones, yeah. So I don't know what you guys think about making an offer, you know, with Alpine Bank, if they wanted to do shirts. Because when we talked about it, we thought that that might be an additional gift we could give to buyers versus, you know, things that we've done in the past. You know, the chairs, or what do you guys?
The one thing with shirts is you're gonna have size issues. You're gonna have to order extra sizes because you never know, unless you do unless when they register, they mark what size they are, and that's something that's given to them at a later date. So then we order them after they've registered and bought, and then we have to figure out how to get it to them later.
The other aspect of the shirts too is the costs. When you look at it, I realize the hats, I think we figured were $17 or $18 a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
We haven't dealt with that, but if you're talking about a shirt per buyer for each sale item, you're talking about how many shirts? Because I do 100 for the car show every year,
Mm-hmm.
and you're talking about almost the cost when you do the custom printing and everything else of about $12 a shirt.
For t-shirts.
So if you're talking 350 buyers or thereabouts, animals that go through,
Yeah.
is that a little high?
There's 200 animals that go through.
200,
We're
so-
looking at 200 items.
So you would be looking at conceivably anywhere from $3,000 to $3,600 or close to it. And that's considerably far and above what the hat issue is for the two sponsors there.
I guess one thought
It's almost,
that, and
I'm
I,
saying it's
yeah.
almost twice as much.
As much, yeah. One thought I had was, if we did t-shirts, that, you know, how when you have somebody like Alpine Bank and they buy a tremendous amount of animals, maybe they could get a mix of either or. I don't know.
As far as sizes.
Well, sizes, but hats and or shirts,
Employees.
you know, and give to employees. I don't, you know, and Alpine just comes to mind just because they buy so many animals, but there are other, Mountain View Tree Farm, you know, buy several. There's a lot of buyers that are repeat.
What would you put on the shirts?
Something similar to what we put on the hats. It would probably be screen printed. I don't think we would have them embroidered, but it would be, you know, Garfield County 21 Fair, livestock sale.
Yeah, if you embroider your cost.
It costs me a lot more, yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
At least twofold, so.
Yeah, and I haven't looked into, I mean, I know what the cost of a t-shirt is, but, you know, and I know if you order on one of the big sites, but I haven't talked to anybody locally, you know, if there's somebody that does, I don't even know if there is
There's a
anybody
place
there
there in Rifle.
in Rifle that does
Yeah.
screen printing.
First Street does it for all of their stuff.
I usually go through first string for our club shirts.
Okay. You know, so I can check into seeing what that cost is, and if we want to ask Jay if he's interested in that, just because he's wanted to get on the hats and that just hasn't ever come to fruition or opened up, or we don't even consider it and we just move on. And I'm open, it's just something that came up. Levy?
I think it's a good idea because there's a lot of people that don't necessarily wear the hats. They sit around and, or they give them away, whereas you may get some exposure with the t-shirts.
Uh-huh.
But, I mean, I wouldn't quash the motion or, not consider it further because you just look into it and see what the cost is.
Okay.
Either or would be.
I have to reach out to First String for our club shirts if you want me to. Just
Okay. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, just see what the cost would be. And then we can kind of connect back with Jay and see if he's interested in doing something like that. Is everybody okay with us moving forward, or does anybody have any objection to looking into this further?
Would you allow other people to be sponsors? Or would
For the
you just-
shirts?
Yeah, for the shirts.
You could reduce the
Yeah,
cost.
you could
Yeah,
reduce the
yeah.
cost, and then we could list them on the
Put a-
back.
And the reason why is because like, I know the Fair Board's done shirts before, and they have like all the sponsor names on the back of the shirts. There's been for years, people fighting, wanting their name on Flyers hats.
Right.
So if you did that, you could almost be where the sponsors pay, you
For
could
the
have
shirts.
so many names where it'd be, $250 of sponsor to just get a shirt made.
Yeah,
with all the
I'm
names on it.
open to that. I just thought the shirts would be a cool idea, because I love t-shirts, and I think that.
Yeah, no, I
think
think
that'd be
it
a good
Thing is
advertisement
if
for
you
both.
go with similar to your logo like you do on the hat,
Uh-huh,
and then you're gonna increase your cost, but you can also increase some of the sponsors. you have and
sponsors, which
everything.
would
So,
lower it, yeah.
It's also because of the cost and everything, you can check locally, but you ought to be doing an RFP also on it.
Okay, yeah.
And there's a couple of companies that I've used in the past that we can certainly provide that information. And you can send them
Send
your
them
download your
requirements.
graphics and they'll give you a bid.
Okay,
Shooting Sports does state shirts, and we print around 120 state shirts just for kids, and another 50 shirts for parents and leaders with sponsorship on the back. I think our total bill is $2,000 at First String, and I think it was $2,500 this last year because we went to polos versus t-shirts. But we made it a minimum to be on the Shooting Sports shirts. You had to sponsor a minimum of $375 to get your logo on the back of the shirt, because that was a huge thing for us. Because we have a couple sponsors on there that are over $3,000. And the names that go on the back of the shirts are people who sponsored awards at a certain level for Shooting Sports program. So it wasn't just for the shirts, but it was for the whole program for the year. They had to sponsor a certain percentage. And then the kids would get to order those shirts. The kids wear them. The kids that went to school board and they're allowed to wear their shirts at school now, which is a huge thing. But they went before school board to get to wear their Shooting Sports shirts to school. So that helps market those buyers. If I had some, I'd go get some, but I don't know that we have any in storage. Alice will tell me here in a minute if I do.
so for this, because it's not it would be the program itself, would you suggest that they sponsor a species? Or no?
I'm really not sure. I just thought I would share that.
Okay, I was
So
just
you guys
wondering.
could, something to think about. Is it just a shirt or is it like 15, they put in $1,500 to sponsor awards? Because Alpine Banks already put in $1,500 to sponsor awards. But if they're the main sponsor on the shirt, then they should have the biggest logo.
Yeah, one, you could do their logo at the top and then do smaller logos or something, down
There's
below.
names.
Yeah,
Or if we just set, we want a minimum of, say, 6 sponsors. If
Yeah.
one person wants, or one business wants to buy more than one sponsor,
then they just buy them out, yeah.
And all we have on the front is the state Shooting Sports logo.
Yeah,
So it
we
would
could,
just be the still logo or it
On the
would
front.
say fire.
but I do like the idea of, because there has been people that want to be on the hats, of giving them the opportunity versus Alpine Bay just being able to
Exactly.
sponsor the whole thing. I think it would be good PR to open it up and say, look, we're trying to, accommodate you per your previous requests and things like that, that we come up, and analyzed and have a new thought. Would you be interested in that? And I do like that idea. Levy?
I like the direction you're going. It may be difficult to do it the first year that way, just because you're gonna be up against the time
Yeah,
issue and all. I mean, most of them, the bigger companies can get it done within 30 to 45 days prior to the date that you need them, which is good.
uh-huh.
But the other thing is if you go with their logos rather than just the names of the companies,
That's more.
it becomes problematic in as much as you've got to upload all of that. Plus, we face it every year in and out with different sponsors we've got with the Fair Board of actually getting that logo in hand
And in
in
the
a
right
timely
format.
manner, in a timely manner so that it can get done.
Well,
Along with the fact that, like you said, Alpine Bank's usually up there and they expect the big
yeah,
capital letters and everything else. If you do it this way and say, open it up to 8 or 10, everybody's the same font.
yeah.
And
Maybe you list them and
it's
that contact
sponsors
number
of
or
their
something like that.
So,
Yeah,
and keep it simple like that. For at least for
for the first year,
because
try and keep it simple.
then you get your t-shirt committee to start working and looking at and expanding towards these tiered levels or
Right.
whatever.
No, I think that's a good point. That would be my suggestion, is that we open it up, contact the people that have been interested in being on the hats. We'll figure out what the cost is, and then we would say, okay, this is what we'd like to offer to you for this year. It's X amount of dollars to be put on these shirts that we're going to be giving away to buyers at the fair, in addition to hats. You name, we'll tell them about the t-shirt. We'll decide on the color at a later date, and something probably that would go with the hats. I don't think it has to match the hats exactly, but and then your name can be listed on the back for X amount of dollars.
And on the back, you could put 2021 Garfield County
Yeah.
Fair deal, because we do that on the hats, and
Yeah.
people want to be recognized
Yeah.
for that particular year.
Yeah, I think on the front, maybe on the back, you could have 2021 livestock sale sponsor as your header. And then you could have, in a smaller font, not tiny, but a smaller, medium-sized font, whatever it is, 6 or 8 sponsors where you've got 3 or 4 on each side. Maybe keep it relatively simple, just a listing with the name and not
Not the logos.
specific logos for this year. Does anybody out there in computer land have any comments, questions?
I have a thought that we might look at also. I know we're looking to get shirts out for the buyers and stuff, but what about like Alpine having them sponsor the superintendent shirts that we wear all week at fair?
You're going back to Alpine Bank too much.
Well,
Yeah.
whoever, that was the one that was thrown out. That was just an idea.
Well, maybe, I guess I don't know exactly how many people are wanting to be on the hats. Maybe we could, I can look into that, Trey, and see how many there are and figure out what the costs are for t-shirts, as well as like the superintendent shirts, which I'm sure Carla can rattle off to me relatively quickly. And then come up with, if there's enough people that are interested in that kind of sponsorship, to see if they would be interested in, I don't know that I would do one or the other, but offer them one or the other.
Well, we have to keep it careful because we've had the same superintendent forever, and I'm not saying that a lot of us have our shirts. We don't need to keep getting new shirts every year for the same people. You can turn those in and wash them.
Right.
You know what
Well,
I mean? You
then-
wear them 1 week at fair most of the time, so there's no reason to continue to buy new every single year unless it's.
Yeah. And I don't know, do we have any leftover superintendent shirts at all, or not?
Each of them that year and hand them out.
I can share this with you. This is what goes on the back of the shooting sports shirt. I just pulled it up. Here. You can see it. cartoon sports shirt right there. That's the whole back of the t-shirt. And we do logos, doesn't cost us anymore.
Okay. I mean, I think it's cool, and I guess it would just be a matter of, you know, if people are on top of it and they could get the logos within X amount of time, and we can get them on there.
And we
If
do
not, then
customized
you get
shirts with names on every sleeve. So with the customization of names on every sleeve,
What was
With the
first
shirt you have on right now, Carla, that same style?
it's the same, similar style as this. And we spent $20 for every kid. We get them sponsored. Every kid gets one shirt for free. If they want to order a set, I think we spent $15 for kids, it's $20 for the leaders. But all the kids are customized with their name on it. And we county shoot 2 weekends before the sale. Right, 3 weekends. They have that whole weekend up to horse show to make sure we have their sizes in and any extra orders. We order the following Tuesday, once we verified all of our sponsors, and we get them back the week of fair. Or the week right after fair to go to state fair.
Yeah, we have a quick turnaround. First Stream's always been within
Yeah.
3
Our
weeks.
superintendent shirts get us a week.
So,
I would recommend that you at least try and get 2 or 3 people together as a subcommittee to move forward.
okay. Is anybody interested on being on a subcommittee trying to put this together?
We can.
I mean, I don't know, you and I want to do it. Does anybody else want to raise their hand and say, I'm in?
Jump on board.
Christy Johnson? Okay, Christy will do it. Okay, so if Christy, we'll get together and, look into it, look into the cost for shirts, kind of come up with a design, and circle back around, and then we'll also reach out to sponsors. We'll come up with some costs and reach out to sponsors, and give a report next meeting. Okay, any more comments on that note? Okay, if not, the next thing on is Fair Vet, and I spoke to Regina a little bit, and I kind of feel like you guys wanted us to come up with a cost to hire a fair vet, with the parameters that he or she would be here on the weigh-in days for the animals, to do health checks for all animals, and or be here or be available the week of the fair during shows in case there was an emergency, and be here the day of the sale to kind of just do a final check on animals to make sure that everything looks good and is in healthy order to be sold. And we kind of came up with a roundabout number of $1,500 to $2,000 for the time of fair. Does anybody have any comments, questions about that? Do you think that that's fair? Are you willing to spend that money to have a fair vet here the week of fair?
So are we paying them the $1,500 to $2,000 a week? And if they take care of an animal, that child's animal is paid for with that $1,500 to $2,000, or does the vet get to go ahead and charge and get a double pay for that time of being here?
Well, I think at the very minimum, I think at the very minimum, the child should have to expect to pay for any medicines or, any, I don't know, therapeutic items, I don't know what else to call it.
Any actual treatments as
Actual,
opposed
yeah.
to reviewing and checking the animal preliminary
Yeah.
diagnostic.
And I don't know, obviously, if there was extenuating circumstances such as a surgery, maybe if the animal has to, I guess I would think if the animal had to leave the fairgrounds and then be treated elsewhere, the 4-H member would be responsible for expenses incurred off-site, and maybe on-site, those are included in that fee. I don't know, I'm just trying to think of what's historically happened. We've had float, we've had pig stress.
If we have a vet here and somebody requests a different vet, is it gonna be contractual like issues? Is that vet? So if we
If
have
they
a
wanna call
contract,
their
If they
own
want to
vet,
call their own vet, then they're responsible, but my opinion would be that they would be responsible for the cost of that.
well, that makes sense, but I just wanna make sure that whatever vet we have here, if a kid doesn't want to use that vet, that vet's not gonna throw a fit because
well,
It is
maybe
allowed
it's
to
one of
call.
those things that is written in an RFP that it is recommended, like if there is some kind of treatment that needs to be recommended, the family is notified, this is the treatment that is recommended for this animal. This is what I can do, or you can choose to call your own vet. 90% of our kids put their dog vets down, so on the record books. Trust me, I see Dr. Smith on there a lot. Dr. Lee Smith.
But he does everything.
Yeah, he does.
He's the best horse vet around.
I know, but is there a horse in here in this livestock barn?
He makes more money off the dogs.
Exactly.
And Christy Johnson said, yeah, she thinks it's worth paying them because they're missing out on work. She suggested reaching out to Amy Crick, which I can do, see if she would be interested. I think we would write a formal RFP and then I can send it out to the local vets. I think Shane Porter expressed an interest as well.
I just know in the past some kids that all of a sudden got a vet bill from a vet administering stuff done here. The fair board had dealt with it. They flipped crap about it. And that's why I'm saying, so if we're gonna
Right.
pay this vet, they're gonna know that, hey, you're gonna be paid through us, but unless the animal's taken off this premises, you can't charge the child. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I do.
You've gotta
I
have a
appreciate
lot of that in place, and then all the parents and the kids need to know how this is gonna work, because it could really turn around and cause
Yeah,
a big
issue.
uproar.
I agree.
And I'm sorry to.
Go ahead.
I was saying, the thing is the fair vet is here for the health and safety and well-being of the animals on site to make, more or less monitor it.
Mhm.
And if somebody has a concern or issue, review it so that, if there's something going on, the animal does have to be removed because it's come down with some contagious disease or something, any of those things. It's not necessarily for some of these other aspects that we're talking. It's almost an insurance coverage to make things better and to abide by the rules. You get some parents saying, oh, if that animal's sick and I don't want to show my son's animal in there with it, then at least you've got a vet so they can look at it, review it,
Evaluate.
and give you the proper evaluation. So just preliminary diagnostic evaluation of the health and
Well,
well-being.
and maybe what we put in the RFP is, this is the amount of funds that we have. What services would you provide? What are you willing to do? What does that include? And put the onerous back on the vet to say, okay, for $1,500 or $2,000, whatever we write it for, I will do, I'll do your check-ins, I'll do health evaluations. Any medical services provided beyond
Basic.
X, whatever it is, will be charged above and beyond. And then we can make a decision from that. Does that sound reasonable to everybody or something along those lines? That would, I think, it would give us a basis of what services are going to be provided that we can then provide to participants and 4-H members. And then we would know that, if there's bloat, yes, he will, he'll tube the animal and give it X amount. If that doesn't work and further services are required beyond that, the cost and expense for that is then passed on, or the decision would be for the participant to decide, if they want to incur additional expenses. Any other, I mean, are we on the right track here, do you guys think, or, you guys have any additional comments that we should make, if we're going to pursue this?
I think it'd be good to have one close in case we need one. But yeah, we need to find out what's going to be covered with what we're paying for. And then at what point does the kid or the participant have to start paying for other services and medicine and anything else that might need to be done with that animal?
Okay. One thing we could ask for in the RFP is at what rate would those services be provided at? I mean, I would think that they would have a general number. Okay, I'm happy to write the RFP. I'd like to be able to move forward. Would you guys want me to send it out and then could you respond, within a 24-hour period? Let me know if you thought the RFP was acceptable, or do you guys want to wait and vote on it in April? And then we'd have to send the RFP out, give it a month, and then make a decision in May, which would only give us 2 months, which I don't know, maybe that's reasonable, but I don't know. How do you guys want to proceed?
I'm okay with you sending it out to emails and having us respond that way. So we can get it out and get somebody lined up.
Okay. Is everybody else kind of okay? If you're not okay with that, I guess, say something. Otherwise, I'm going to assume you're okay. Levy?
You're talking about writing the RFP, but you've got at least one, by all indications, that's interested in doing it. Ask them for some assistance on what their scope of duties would be.
Okay.
Because that's what you're gonna need, is the scope of duties within that RFP. And if they're saying we would be there available from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., whatever, each day of the fair, Tuesday through Saturday, something like that. And do A, B, C, and D or something like that, but get at least preliminary an idea of what their concept of the scope of duties would entail if they were going to be the fair pet.
Is Shane's kids showing this year?
No, they're not in 4-H.
I know they did last year. Yeah.
So I mean, that may help give you that base to start
Basis for
with.
that RFP, okay.
I would say we probably also need to put in the actual hours that they're gonna be required to be down here, like for weigh-in, animal check-ins, poultry, rabbit, like
Right,
that's on
starting on
Sunday, so
Sunday,
they have
yeah.
to be here on Sunday evening, they're gonna have to be here for 4 hours or however
Right.
long it takes. And
Yeah, I
then
think for the
on
check-ins, I
Tuesday,
can
we
put
need to
those.
And the rest of
this
it's at
time
least
period.
respond
Available.
within 60 minutes. or
Yeah,
something like
30
that.
to 60 minutes, I would think. Do they need to be here Sunday when we load out? Just, or would it be through Saturday?
It's just through Saturday,
Through
they
Saturday.
do the health check before sale, and that's all we're required to do.
Okay,
So Saturday's the shortest day.
yeah, okay. Okay, I will get to working on that this week. Look for an email. If I can, I'll reach out to Shane, and I'll also reach out to Amy Crick to kind of get an idea of what the scope, I'd like to talk to both of them to see what the scope would be. And I'll do that. Let me, not this Friday, what is today, Tuesday? If I get something to you by next Tuesday, April 6th, if you could please respond by April 8th. And if I don't hear from you, I'll just move forward and take the majority of people that I hear from with a yay or nay, whether to move forward and send out the RFP. The next item we shelved from the last meeting was the wood pellets for hogs. Do you guys have any additional comments on that, or? Do you want to purchase those wood pellets, or some of those wood pellets, any of those wood pellets from Highway Feed? Or do we want to just drop that and count on getting some shavings? Did you talk to, oh no, Jen's not here, is she?
Well, Brooke's here. And for county council, I think we're gonna pass doing it because it looks like we're probably gonna be doing food of some sort. And that's really what our focus is, trying to keep, food in the kitchen being served all week.
Okay, so that would bring us to, do we want to purchase, a bag or two for the pigs? Because I think last time we talked about it's possibly a better alternative for pigs than the shavings. There was a couple different comments. That's up to you guys. Or do we just want to, I haven't talked to Janice, so I don't know what the status is on shavings. But
Jana told me, because I called a bunch of sponsors last week and she didn't want me to call them. She said she was going to make phone calls this week. So I hope that's one of the phone calls. The pellets are amazing, but I guess it just depends on who wants to purchase it. Because don't we have to purchase all of it together, correct?
I don't think so. I don't think that was K&K's intention. I think they were just trying to get rid of, Highway Feed was just trying to get rid of their stockpile that they had.
Could we reach out to the swine kids that normally bring shavings and maybe make recommendations?
I think we could reach out to not just the swine kids, but I think, as well as the beef kids, because the pellets make an excellent ramp for kids that are wanting to ramp.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Cost is the same as a bag of shaving for a bag. I think they said $5.35 or something a bag, and the bag of shavings is very similar. And the pine pellets actually hold up better than the shavings. But I mean, yeah, we could. I guess if Alice and Carla wouldn't mind sending out an email to members to let them have those, or Highway Feed, I'm sorry, that we can do that. I guess I was just more interested to see if this committee would be interested in buying them. I just got a text from Christy that said, I think for the pigs, the pellets for the pigs would be really messy since you have to wet them down, but it would be good for ramping beef.
And Andrea Murr says, I think it would be a great idea. We have to be very clear who's paid for what. So for emailing the kids are paying kids.
Yeah, if we email it out to the kids, we're just saying Highway Feed has these pellets available and are wanting to sell them. I probably have to check with Highway Feed to make sure that they would sell them, at a discounted price, and so that we can let the kids know what that cost would be. I guess what I'm asking the committee is, does this committee want to buy any of those pellets and give to swine participants to put in their stalls?
Like for purchase?
No, if this committee wants to use money from our account to buy bags that would then be placed in each of the hog stalls, that the kids could use. I'm
I don't
gonna
think
take,
so.
I'm gonna take that as a negative. That this committee is not interested in purchasing the wood pellets from Highway Feed for use for swine participants at the livestock show and sale. Okay, on to the next, is there any other items, old business items that people want to talk about or need to bring up or revise or discuss? Okay,
Has anybody been keeping track of this whole rabbit vaccination fiasco?
we're gonna talk about that right now, Brooke.
Oh.
Yep, that's under new business, and I spoke to,
I have new updates
okay,
and more.
okay. I spoke to Melissa Wannenberg from Mesa County regarding the RHD V2 vaccine for rabbits for the hemorrhagic fever. And they are going to require that all rabbits be vaccinated prior to arrival at their show and livestock sale. They are having a clinic on April 11th. And their rabbit group is sponsoring the vet that's coming from the Eastern Slope to administer those vaccinations. And they were going to try and get her to come back a second time to administer any additional animals prior to their fair. What updates do you have, Carla?
Well, Extension as a whole will be meeting Monday with the Colorado State Veterinarian's Office to talk about this. Colorado State Fair has already canceled the rabbit show. And just so you know, as of last week, sorry, I talked too much this weekend. Colorado Parks and Wildlife have confirmed rabbit hemorrhagic disease virus type 2 in Garfield County as of Friday. It was found south of Silt in the wild rabbits. So, there's a whole press release they put out in the paper, but it's in Garfield County, guys.
So I think that, I think it would be prudent for us to have it be a requirement for rabbits to be vaccinated here as well. I did speak to Shane Porter about it. He is not, I guess, licensed to administer the vaccine. So we would have to either participate in the clinics at Mesa County Fairgrounds or see if we could get the vet that they are using to come over and do something similar for us prior to our sale as well. I think it's Dr. Leak, I think, from the Eastern Slope that they have coming over. I guess the vaccine is, it's a European vaccine, but it's expensive and you have to have special licensure or qualifications or something
Not imported.
to import it and be able to administer it. It's not something that every vet goes through the process of doing.
And we need to look into it. I believe that the rabbits have to be so many weeks old to get the vaccine, and I'm not quite sure if our Friars will
The
be
rabbits
able.
10 weeks or older. And then if you decide to participate in, with the Mesa County group, it's $17 a rabbit. And they're accepting cash only. And the rabbit has to have a tattoo or microchip. If they are not tattooed, they will do that as well for an additional $1 down at the Mesa County clinics. So if you wanted your rabbit to be vaccinated and tattooed, microchipped, it would be $18.
I have two questions. Carla, do you expect when you're meeting that they will suggest canceling all of the rabbit shows?
They will either suggest making all rabbit shows virtual or canceling, more than likely, unless we had this question in to the state's vet's office to kind of look at what Mesa County's doing. Because most of the cases right now have been found in the wild rabbits, more so than our domesticated. However, it can transfer to them. Our state vet specialist I talked to today called this the coronavirus for rabbits. That's how she explains it, because it's a disease that came across somewhere else. Something brought it in, and now we're dealing with it. And the next thing they're gonna have to look at is how do we try to keep it from getting into the domestic herds. CPW is putting out that unless you tested the rabbit, if you're a rabbit hunter, you shouldn't eat the meat. They don't want, like our cats, my cat hunts rabbits. And that's what they're saying. If you see your animal that has killed a rabbit, you need to take it away from them, don't let them eat it. So, I mean, for those of us who have dogs in with our herds, that's something we have to think about as well. They haven't seen it affect pets, but they're not gonna promise it won't. With that being said, we need to be looking at, we have breeding rabbits, and those breeding rabbits are bred for multiple years. We don't know how long the vaccine lasts,
It's an annual vaccine.
so it's kind of like your dog.
And so if they go, and the other thing I was gonna ask is there, so if we have them go get their rabbit vaccinated, is there a time period that it should not be with other rabbits? Is there, a wait, like the
Incubation period.
Incubation period, that,
I did ask about the incubation period. There is no withdrawal period. I did confirm that, but I didn't ask about an incubation.
Because I mean, if they have their rabbits and they have to be how old
10 weeks.
to get it, and then if there's they can't be around any other rabbits or they're not safe from the,
right,
until 2 weeks, then are we over that time frame?
Our Friars won't.
our Friars aren't gonna be old enough, that's the challenge. I don't believe our Friars are 8 to 6 weeks. So there, we have a list of questions. I'm the one that brought this up. I was the devil's advocate because they asked how fairs were going, and this is the one hiccup I'd see for fair. So I put it to our assistant extension director, and he took it to Reagan Adams, who's our specialist for veterinary for extension. She called the state vet's office, and they have scheduled a meeting at 3 o'clock Monday to answer every question she has emailed them with all of us, because it's about bringing our market rabbits in the show. Can we harvest our market rabbits? Can we get them slaughtered? How about the vaccine? If we breed, specifically breeding is breeding and roasters are the ones I'm thinking of the most for the vaccine, because they should be old enough, is that a proper way to take care of it so we can have a show and allow these kids to come in and show in person? Because our number one complaint is these rabbit kids are so little, the one thing they hate is a virtual show. And I'm trying to do everything I can in my power to avoid that.
I think as a committee, we also need to think about, for the rabbit kids, if it does go virtual, giving them the opportunity to drop that project. April 1st is drop deadline. And if we end up doing virtual like we did last year, we gave those kids that option to drop. So we
Later than.
Yeah,
We need to give those rabbit kids that option.
I would agree with that. I think that's
Just since everything's on the fence and we're gonna have finalized options until after drop date. We need to
Yeah.
give them.
Yeah.
We need to give them one, a heads up, and two, the option.
So we've emailed all of our rabbit kids about this clinic, specifically the breeding kids, because this is more important for them if they're keeping rabbits around.
And it's extremely contagious.
Extremely contagious. It's kind of like hoof and mouth, or, mad cow disease is what they were referring to it from Europe.
Well, I guess you'll get more information, but I mean,
The biggest thing I need to know is what direction does this committee want to look at? Do we want to look at what Mesa County is doing to how the rabbit show is? Let's look at the vaccines and at least, breeding rabbits pretty much can
Can be done, right, breeding rabbits.
Some of the roaster rabbits can be done possibly depending on how old they could have been born in January. The older ones can be done.
Is Mesa County accepting our rabbits to come down there?
Yes,
Even though
yes,
we-
but I would just
They
need to let
offered it
them
to
know,
us.
yeah.
That was just with the announcement that it was in Garfield County. I just didn't know if Mesa County knew that.
Yeah,
Whether
we
they
just-
were-
No,
they
it's
need
in
to
Mesa
let them-
County too.
They just need to contact Mesa County and let them know that they are coming so that they can, so that the vet will have enough vaccine and that they'll have people on hand to do the tattooing and or whatever needs to be done. And like I said, she was, when I spoke to her last, they hadn't confirmed a second date, but they were wanting to get a second date so that they could get more
And if
rabbits
it's
done.
something we want to do, maybe we could partner with them and have an extra day that's just here.
That would be here, you know, maybe she could go down there and then stop here on her way back or then spend the night the next day. So.
What is Mesa County doing about the Friar rabbits?
I don't think they have a Friar rabbit class.
Well, if
So-
if it's 10 weeks old, I mean, you just have to get them vaccinated right before fair.
But our Friars are only 8
8
weeks
weeks.
old.
Oh, that's right.
Being the mom before long before she's pregnant to have those Friars. In that particular case, I would say the mom would need to be vaccinated.
Are they allowed to have the vaccination while pregnant?
I don't know.
I don't know, honestly. I mean,
Along with the fact that you cannot expect the vaccine immunity through offspring on that, so you've still got unvaccinated animals if you're gonna allow that.
So you may have to drop the Friar class this year, which would be an easier thing to do.
yeah, because nobody has those
They may
animals
be
yet.
breeding or get.
Yeah,
ready
but
to
they're not
start
on
breeding.
the, yeah.
So we probably also need to release that Friars are not gonna be an option, so that kids planning on doing Friars. Unless, because
They're not old enough to
Well,
be
I
vaccinated.
think if we do an either or with the Friars, either this group would decide, okay, we don't do Friars, or the Friars would have to be a virtual show. That would be the only option for the Friars. You could still possibly do the other shows live if people were to get their animals and show proof of vaccination. And then you could at least give the kids the option to either have a virtual show with the Friars or drop the project. Because then that would, I mean, it's not really eliminating anybody, but it's giving everybody options.
And it's putting some safeguards in.
And it's putting in the necessary safeguards. This isn't something, kind of like coronavirus, we didn't create it, but we're, trying to provide as many options to be able to put on the show.
But I also want to give the kids a chance who are planning on doing Friars to bump up and do roasters.
Right, but
Give them enough time to do that, to find a rabbit.
yeah,
Now, the vaccine, once they're vaccinated, like they can't get this? Because I'm just saying you have people that are getting their breeders vaccinated, but then they have Friars and roasters, the Friars that can't be vaccinated and they're next to each other in the same pen. Those get to come to fair, but the Friars didn't because they weren't of age because this is vaccinated, but this one could have it. Not knowing.
well, no, the vaccine would, I mean, it's essentially, it's just like, if you get the coronavirus vaccine and you get the appropriate dosage, then you don't get the.
They say.
Less likely.
I mean,
I'm like, they
yes,
say that.
Nothing's a guarantee for sure, but I mean, that's
Sounds
the
to me like
essence of
there's
a
a lot of
vaccine.
questions.
Mesa County doesn't have a Friar class. They do not put any rabbits under 11 weeks of age into a market class.
Let's see. I'm just saying here.
I'm fine either way, I'm just trying to be as accommodating as.
Yeah, we
as
have to be. I'm
possible.
just thinking if they
Yeah.
have both of them at home next to each other.
When do they have to buy roasters? When would they have to buy roasters?
Roasters have to be in possession by May. Because they have to be a minimum of 2 months old before fair. So So they're gonna have to have that roaster made.
I just wanna give, like, if the kids don't wanna do a virtual show and they're planning on doing a Friar, that only, if we don't tell them. from the middle
Roasters
of-
are between 2 months and 6 months. So they could have gotten their roaster as early as January.
Right, but I'm
I'm
someone
saying-
that signed up for Friar right now, the class gets
Friars
dropped.
have to be producers, so they're only in breeding. So do
Oh,
Friar, you
so-
have to only be in breeding rabbit.
Okay,
So that,
okay, that lessens it then a little bit.
That's the
I was
requirement.
just worried that we were gonna have a bunch of kids planning on doing Friars, and then the middle of April, we're gonna be like, so you can't do Friars, you have to do it virtually. And then they're gonna be like, well, if I would've done that, I would've done roaster. But if they, Friars are only breeders, that kind of.
And I'll tell you how many kids that would affect in just a moment.
Well, there's still time for them. I mean, their time is cut in half, basically, in essence, but there is still time for them to switch to
You'll have a
roaster,
better
I think.
idea after the meeting, which direction.
on Monday.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, and if Friars, like, if it's producer only, like, then those kids are probably, you're only gonna affect.
it's a much
Thank you.
smaller
And-
quantity, yes.
There are 22 kids in breeding rabbit. And I would have to do a full spreadsheet.
There you go.
Lots of rabbits.
And there are 32 in market.
Okay, so 22 in breeding and 32 in,
But that's market
Okay,
as a
market.
whole, not necessarily just Friars.
No, yeah, that market as a whole.
Oh,
I
okay.
have to, let me.
Are the rabbits done in
Trios?
sets?
Yeah.
Yes, they
Also-
do have.
yeah,
Friars.
Friars are done at trio.
I'm just trying to pull the list just in case.
Okay. Do you have any other comments or suggestions, Brooke, since you're kind of deep in rabbits?
I just think, I guess we wait for hopefully more information from Carla's next meeting. Just so we could get all the information out to everybody if we have to be vaccinated. And like you guys said, if we're gonna do the virtual class for the Friars. I mean, for the Friars, I think there's like 3 families that do it, and one of them is me. And Hannah is not planning on doing them. So we don't normally have a lot of kids. So I don't think it's gonna be an issue not to do it or to just do it virtually. They'd probably just drop it. But the sooner the better for these kids, because the vaccination, they have to travel to do it.
And the clinic is in 2 weeks. It's April 11th. Yeah,
It's a week from Sunday.
so.
And you have to give these parents, I mean, you purchase a rabbit for $25 and a shot is half of the rabbit's cost.
Right, it does add to the cost. Yeah, and not that we have to decide tonight, but hemorrhagic fever is probably not going to go away after this year. So this committee should probably think about, moving forward. Or do we want to, are we gonna always have, do you always want to have a virtual show with the Friars, or is it something that we are going to want to eliminate and follow Mesa County?
In regards to hemorrhagic fever, I think that's a question that Carla could put to the state vet.
Yeah,
Because 6 months ago, it was in south central Colorado, the first time it showed up. It's been here and around before. It's not entirely new. to
Right.
Colorado, but it is cyclic. I mean, if you look at the number of rabbits that are out there this year, it's going to increase the cat population as far as bobcats and stuff like that. Everything's cyclic as far as that. It's been here before, but as far as what safeguards and what we need to look at
in the
for the
future.
future, the vet may be able, state
Okay.
vet may be able to give us a better idea before we go down
Okay.
that road.
So we'll just wait for more information to see what the outlook is regarding the future.
Yeah, because it went from isolated to 3 south central Colorado counties to now we've got the majority of the state.
Spotty, yeah. Okay.
Carla, were you asked about an incubation period? whether, if they get it, if they need to be separated still for, just to make sure we're not gonna.
I think just as a precaution, if they've got multiple classes of animals, that common sense would say, please, you know, as leaders, we should tell them, please keep your breeding animals away from and isolated from, just because you don't know exactly what.
Right, but if they go get the vaccine the day before fair and then walk into fair, they get their vaccine, we have to make sure like
But
they have to.
did it have an
be-
effective time
Yeah.
to work and all too, so.
Okay, now it's,
Now it's 15 counties. There was 13 counties prior to this month. The 2 counties that were added this month were Garfield and Swatch. Sorry. Prior to that, it's been Adams, Alamosa, Custer, Denver, El Paso, Albert, Guarfano, La Plata, Los Animas, Larimer, Mesa, Prowers, Pueblo. It's been all those other counties. So it's been in Mesa County for quite a while. It's not new to them, which is why they're doing vaccinations. But Colorado State Fair, when I talked to their animal specialist, has already canceled the rabbit show and are not planning on it at all.
So what if the rabbit already has this virus and then goes and gets vaccinated? Is that obvious that it has the virus, or can it have the virus and they don't know it has the virus and then it gets vaccinated, but it's already spread it? How does that part of it work?
You know, I'm not quite sure.
I don't know. I don't know if it's something that the vet, through observation can, I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I guess maybe you can kind of ask when Carla has her meeting. She can find that out.
Brooke, do you know the symptoms?
Yeah, I mean, I heard it's kind of a quick thing. Once they have it, they obviously start wasting away. So they have a lot of drainage from the nose and the eyes. And they do start bleeding out of their nose as well. And they don't eat. And I mean, it's just a lethargic thing until they die. Did you guys hear me?
Yeah, it says on the ag.colorado.gov, it's highly contagious, fatal disease of domestic and wild rabbits. High concern. Clinical signs. Often the only signs of the disease are sudden death and possibly blood-stained noses caused by internal bleeding. Infected rabbits may also develop a fever, be hesitant to eat, or show respiratory or nervous signs. Many of the rabbits confirmed recently have shown no clinical signs or gross pathological or other than sudden death. So probably without testing, it would be hard to know. It sounds like if your rabbit had it. It says transmission can be spread through contact with infected rabbits, their meat or fur, or materials coming in contact with them. So you're cleaning the pen, and you're scattering the shavings or carrying them through the barn. Scavengers and birds may play an important role in indirect transmission of the virus.
So you're gonna have to disinfect all your cages.
Yeah.
The biggest prevention is vaccines.
Yeah, vaccines are only available through private veterinarians who have applied for and been granted permission by the USDA to import and distribute the vaccine. Rabbit owners should practice good biosecurity measures to protect their animals from this disease, such as washing your hands before and after, not sharing equipment, and avoid contact with other wild or feral rabbits.
Does it say how effective the vaccine is or what the mortality rate is?
I don't think they have that research.
No.
The thing that I read, I tried to see if it had a incubation period.
Yeah, I had read it
Here's one
5 or
that
6
does
months ago
say,
because the county health department was concerned.
the vaccine is not infectious to people or domestic animals other than rabbits. However, multiple dead or sick rabbits can be a sign of tularemia or plague, diseases that cause some serious illness. Do not handle or consume sick or dead wildlife. Do not allow pets to contact or consume wildlife carcasses. So at this time, it's not they don't think, or it says it's not transmittable to people or your domestic animals unless it's eaten, basically.
Through consumption.
Through consumption, correct.
Let's wait till Monday. I guess Carla gets an update Monday.
I will get an update Monday. Some other symptoms are jaundice. So yellowing of eyes.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the internal, the renal system and.
Renal failure.
Renal failure, yeah. Okay, so we.
So, I found incubation period answers.
Okay.
3 to 5 days incubation period is what the incubation period is if a rabbit has this disease. And 3 to 9 days before the onset of symptoms, they usually die in the first 3 to 5 days.
So almost a 2-week window.
It looks like everything's 3 to 5 days, 3 to 9, maybe up to 10, but. There is a site that I'm reading about the virus.
Pretty fast.
I'll know more on Monday.
Okay, so we'll wait for an update from Carla and.
However, if it's recommended that we do vaccines, we need to.
Yeah, we
make a
need
plan.
to, I mean, because, so the kids can.
Because our next meeting is like a few days right before weigh-in.
I think we should just make it, they have to have a vaccination.
I would say yes.
Especially because I don't know much about rabbits, but I'm sure people get them down out of Mesa or whatever, and if they're having it down there, if we, being a neighboring county, we should recommend it here too, like require it here too.
And I think most rabbit kits, most of our rabbit kits, they still are breeders. Like there's a lot of breeders and they're gonna wanna do that anyways for the health of their herd. Or
Their prices may go up if breeders vaccinate.
Their litters.
Right, yeah, I mean, the breeder may charge more if they're gonna vaccinate their herd, and so, it funnels on down. But your P&L for a rabbit is still pretty good.
Yes.
All things considered, it's still a doable project, I feel like, even with this requirement. So on that note then, can we get a motion of some kind to be able to move forward so that we can let the kids know whatever that motion is, so that we can at least get that portion of it out. And if we need to make something later, we can do that as well, because we are on a timeline here. We're about a month out from.
Are we going to require the vaccine? Is this what we're talking about right now? So is that what emotion that you want?
Yes, in essence, yes. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but that's kind of what I was leaning towards. If somebody could make a motion.
I also think if we require the motion, we need to figure out a vaccination date. Not that that has to be decided now, but.
Well, I mean, at least there's one in the works, and then yes, we can work on a second one.
I think we should have one in Garfield, try to have one in Garfield County if we're gonna require it.
I agree, and I think we want to anyway, if we were gonna move forward with some kind of a live show for rabbits. I mean, I can't guarantee it because the availability, but we could work, definitely, we should try and work towards getting one, but I don't think we can guarantee it. Because it's not something that your average vet is willing to take on, I think.
I'll make a motion that we require the vaccine for rabbit kids.
Or just shut.
For sure.
So at this point, I guess my question would be for breeding and roasters?
For all rabbits.
For any,
All
yeah,
rabbits,
I
okay.
would say for all rabbits. I mean, the Friars, they have can't get it till they're 10 weeks, so that automatically rules them out. So all rabbit breeders and roasters that could possibly come to the fairgrounds for the family.
Okay, Katie put a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I second.
Courtney seconds. Any discussion?
And we'll set up a date for the kids to come to Garfield County. Try to anyway.
Yeah, we'll work on seeing if we can get a vet in Garfield County to do a vaccination date here as well. And then we'll also keep the kids informed about any updates that if Mesa County has additional vaccination dates. Okay, I have a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. So rabbits coming to Garfield County will need to be vaccinated. Carla, can you maybe, or have Alice send out another reminder, let the rabbit kids know tomorrow and give them the date, and make sure that they understand that they need to contact Mesa County if they want to get in on the April 11th vaccination clinic. And I will talk to the people down in Mesa County. I know Shiloh and Miss Melissa Wannenberg about their second date, and then also I'll try and reach out and give the information to talk to Dr. Leek to see if she would be willing to make a stopover in Garfield County. Okay. The next item under new business is at the last meeting, this board voted to not allow the Elder family to participate in the livestock show and sale because of late enrollment. They protested and went to Fair Board, and there was a discussion ensued at Fair Board, and our ruling was overturned for various reasons. Nothing against this board, but Fair Board wanted to allow the Elder family to go ahead and enroll and participate in the livestock show, but they reverted back to us for some kind of, I don't know, punishment or consequence to the Elder family for their late enrollment. So I don't know if you guys have thoughts about what you feel is an appropriate punishment. I don't think we can do, I don't think it's necessary, and I'm assuming it wouldn't be acceptable to do any kind of punitive cost damages, but more in the lines of community service or project, additional project or information that they would need to give or presentation. You guys have thoughts or suggestions? I think one thing that came across that was discussed is maybe having the kids clean up each night after the shows inside the barn, kind of help pick up trash and pick up the grandstand areas, and or help set up for the sale on Friday night. That was one thing that was suggested to me. Does anybody have any additional thoughts on that they feel would be appropriate or fair and equitable?
So you have two of them, you have 6 days of fair, correct? So what about 1 hour per day per kid to start?
Okay,
I mean, I don't think that's too extreme,
right, and that
but
would,
it doesn't have to be a specific assignment if, you know, so if the extension or a superintendent needs some assistance, or you have a project that you need assistance with, that they can be directed to do that, but.
One of the projects
You know,
we're always needing to do is clean up after show.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest project. And shooting sports kids, if they miss their interview appointment, they're required to clean up after all grandstand events, to make up and do their interview, to even get to compete at state shoot, because that's a requirement.
Right, and that's where the Fair Board put it back to you guys to come up with a consequence, to reinforce the fact that there was an issue and a rule violation, but to disallow was felt across the board. I think that it was unanimous as far as the Fair Board's decision was that that was a little too extreme, especially since there had already been some discussion in regards to mitigation and all. So, you know, it's back to you guys, but I think cleaning up in the evenings and afternoons is great because it doesn't affect them as much. They have time to take care of their animals. They have time to prep and everything for shows. And so it's not as onerous to where it would impinge upon them being able to participate and everything in whatever shows or whatever species, but clean up afterwards, that's on their time.
okay. Does anybody have either other suggestions or comments on that note? Okay, I'm gonna take that as a no. Does somebody want to make a motion for that in regards to that idea, or do you want to make a motion for something else?
I mean, I can make a motion for them helping out each night at the end of every show on cleaning the pens, if that's what everybody wants them to do.
You say you clean the pens, you're talking about the show arena? Or-
Yeah, I didn't mean the pens. I meant the grandstands. Yeah. Maybe I got onto something there. But no, the grandstands, or even, you know, whoever barn superintendent is, if, you know, they need some extra cleanup in there as well. Like Levy said, there's 6 nights of fair. You could switch it off.
Okay. So I have a motion on the floor that the elder kids would need to check in and go through, clean the grandstand and the show area. Each
The show stand.
The show
Grandstands
stand,
are over there.
sorry,
And I
the
don't
show
know that
stands inside the barn, and the show ring to make sure all trash is picked up and miscellaneous items. Do I have is somebody willing to second or make a second?
Do we want to do each evening or after every show concludes? Because some of those might be earlier rather than later in that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you want to do each evening after all events, or after each show concludes, the shows for the day conclude?
The day, after the day concludes.
So,
Because there's events, aren't there? Do we have events in the evening?
not in this barn, there's
Okay.
community events, which will
Okay.
put the kids up. to
So, okay, it
7:30.
would be after.
That's not, I mean, we're talking about, you know, an intermediate, a junior member.
I think we need to separate 4-H and fair events.
Yeah,
So when the 4-H events end for the day, they are responsible for
in the
cleaning
indoor.
the barn.
then the junior livestock show, that's what it's called.
Okay. So, correct me if I'm wrong, the motion would be for them to clean the grandstand and show ring area after the 4-H livestock events conclude for the day.
Yes, correct.
Do I have a second? Katie seconds the motion. All in favor? Oh, any discussion?
Only thing I would say or would recommend would that you have some specificity as far as the amount of time or whatever, because I hope you're gonna have other kids and people helping, but they need to be involved. But if they're out there doing it by themselves and it's 2 or 3 hours, that might be a little bit onerous.
I wouldn't think it would take more than an
It's
hour.
usually
And I think so too. I think that's a
So-
realistic.
But that also, we also have to haul our own trash.
uh-huh.
So not only are we cleaning, we have to haul our own trash. And we
So
gotta
I
stock
would say
bathrooms
each
and-
kid will be expected to put in an hour on a daily basis of helping clean up. In some cases, it might only be 15 to 20 minutes. In other cases, it might be 45, but an hour is what we will expect of them.
Or until that assignment is completed. I just,
Right, no, I
So
know
that you-
exactly
you
what you're
don't-
saying, where you're going.
yeah, it's,
Yeah, that makes sense.
you can't be too ambiguous.
Yeah, just leave it open-ended.
Yeah, that too.
I think we probably also.
We gotta do whipping showers.
This might be a discussion for later on down the road when we change rules, but we might need to write something like this up.
For the
Just so that
robot,
we have
yeah.
it in the future, so we have something to go back on. I think, I don't know whether this was the first time this, a decision was ever had to make it
Well,
because
you-
of a deadline, but I feel like we just need to put in place where if you miss a deadline, this is what you do.
But you've got that. You've got a
Assistant.
in-step, I think there's like 6 of them listed as far as punishments or consequences for rule violations. So you don't have to rewrite everything you've got. You just need to apply the specifics of what occurred or what happened. In this case, if you're looking at hours for each child, then you look at it and say, okay, here's, consequence 1 could be a written reprimand or, something like that. But this is a little further down that step of consequences. And you've already got that incrementally in place in your rule book, so.
We can't count this as the
But it is,
It can't be as part of their book, they can put it in their book, but it needs to
can't
be
be
in
in
right,
addition
it's
to.
not
It's not
It
that.
outside
doesn't
the
fulfill
rule
their,
service.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's in addition to their
Yeah.
regular community service.
This is a consequence, not a.
Yeah, it's not, yeah. One comment is, do we want to have them participate in the setup for the sale on Friday evening after the beef show as well? So there would be a cleanup time, and obviously they wouldn't be the only ones participating in the setup, but that would
and
be,
most of the
that would be-
adults that are there would do not have necessarily the younger kids there because they get in the way. And I mean, having been there and worked on that, it's probably better. I would focus on having them do the punitive,
okay,
clean this up. And on Friday after the beef sale, their show and everything, they ought to be out there cleaning it up and getting it ready for, so that those that are getting ready to do stuff Friday night don't have to worry about tripping over trash.
Lunch is Wednesday, sheep and goat is Thursday, beef show is Friday,
so Friday afternoon.
so
They
Friday,
show Monday and Sunday and Monday.
Monday, Tuesday.
Monday, Tuesday, excuse me.
Okay, so the motion would be that they would be required to
Do we need to have Brooke restate her motion?
The motion was basically, Brooke moved and you seconded.
Yeah, so we're just discussing it.
That the to clean up after each junior livestock show. And that's what it was. So if you're going to amend it to say an hour or total hours for the week,
Up to an hour.
you need to amend the motion because that time limit is not in the motion.
No, it's just clean up, it has to be cleaned up.
Okay, so any further discussion? Okay, as is, the motion does not include a time limit. So all in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Oh, four, okay, four. All opposed? Motion carries. We will let the elder family know what their requirements will be for the consequences of late enrollment.
Who's going to be responsible for this to make sure it happens?
I think that, yeah, we should have them check in with you, say, okay, I'm here to clean up, and then you do a quick walkthrough, or I can help you in the evenings, I can help her too, do a walkthrough and have it be satisfactory or not. And be reasonable, be reasonable about it. Any other items for new business that people want to discuss? Okay, next livestock meeting will be April 27th at 6:30. Meeting is adjourned at 8:12. Thanks, you guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.